Hello everyone. Namaste to all. Hello.
Good evening. Namaste.
Namaste. Okay, so let's begin today's session. Sit in any comfortable pose. Close your eyes and take any mudra that you prefer for yourself. Now join your hands together in front of your heart center. Then bend your head forward. Open your eyes while blinking. And namaste to everyone. Okay, so yesterday we talked about forward bend, and today we're gonna go further to our downward facing dog and mountain pose. Okay, so in the downward facing dog and the mountain, the difference is only that in downward vinyasa and mountain that comes in your hatha yoga. And do you know the alignment of downward facing dog and then mountain pose? Any confusion is there? Hello.
Yes.
You're freezing. Your voice is breaking, so maybe the connection.
Between downward facing dog and hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you please repeat the difference?
Today we're going to talk about downward facing dog and the mountain. All right. So basic alignment of the downward facing dog and the mountain is to, like in the downward facing dog, we are supposed to rotate our hands outward and the feet should be apart, and we're going to spread our fingers in the downward facing dog. Whereas in the mountain, we are going to keep our fingers, feet together so that the bandhas in the mountain or in hatha yoga, basically we usually use the bandhas. All right, so we lock our all three bandhas, jalandhar bandha, udyan bandha and mool bandha together. Okay, so when you're keeping your feet together, at that time we are not losing that energy from our mool bandha. We are going to contract that mool bandha and then we're going to hold that position right there. We are not going to lose our energy. We're going to just bring that within and around. All right, but whereas in the downward facing dog, because the vinyasa that came after this hatha yoga, so in vinyasa basically we are working on the flexibility, we are working on the strength of our arms and legs too. Okay, so what is the main purpose of downward facing dog or the mountain? Like, do you feel any difference between both of them?
I think that downward facing dog, that's what you said, flexibility, especially with the legs, yeah?
Yes. And what about mountain pose? Mountain pose also gives us flexibility, but if we are talking about that, stability, in the downward facing dog, we are not stable that much. Like mountain seems like this, but the downward facing dog looks like this. Okay, in the mountain, because mountain is stable, dog. Have you seen dog? that does when it does downward facing dog. So you may have seen that curve on its spine, right? So the same thing it happens in your extended puppy pose. In puppy pose, puppy is also kind of dog, right? So when puppy become like when it grows, then it becomes dog. Same thing happens here in the puppy extended pose. We are going to, we're gonna extend from the thoracic region from our upper body. In the same in the downward facing dog, we're gonna just extend our hands, extend our legs, and then we're gonna have the same stretch on our underarms on our upper body. All right. And in the mountain, that will be completely stable. We won't move there. We will be like all the time stable there, and we're gonna find that maximum energy within and around. Okay. So let's understand downward facing dog and mountain all together. Just come up on your mat. Press your palms on the floor. See, how do we enter into the downward facing dog or the mountain? So we have two entries into to get into this downward facing dog or the mountain, or we can say the two approaches to get over into there. So from here, we can get to the downward facing dog from the tabletop. You're gonna tuck your toes under, and then we're gonna reach our hips high. So this is a downward facing dog. In the mountain, we're gonna keep our fingers together and heels together. Okay. So this is a mountain. See, let's understand this better. So in the extended puppy pose, during the extended puppy pose, how do we do the extended puppy pose? So extended puppy pose is like this, when we are extending arms forward and then keeping our hips at the peak of this pose and try to lower your chest down. This is your extended puppy pose. So when puppy grows older, then it becomes dog. So we're gonna feel the same stretch, press your hands and then reach your hips high. And then again, feel that stretch on your underarms and your shoulders. All right. So this is your downward facing dog. But in the mountain, you will be stable. You'll be like all the way straight from your hands to your hips to your heel. In the downward facing dog, you will have that curve on your upper back, and you may bend your knees if you want. If you want to keep your hips even higher than before. Okay. So the more you reach your hips high, the more extension you will have on your hips, more extension you will have on your lower back. All right.
What about the foot distance in both? What is the difference?
Shoulder stand.
No, I'm talking about the foot distance.
Okay, distance, feet distance, that will be open with hip width apart in the downward facing dog. See, whichever posture you are doing, if you're keeping your legs open, at the time we have to just consider this hip width apart distance. Okay, we don't need to go like more than hip width apart or close than hip width apart. It should be always according to the hip distance. All right. Okay, so in the downward facing dog, how are supposed to rotate our legs? Are they supposed to rotate in or out? What do you feel like? Let's do it, then you will understand it better.
Downward facing.
Yeah, downward facing dog. See, downward facing dog is more like a forward bend because we are stretching our hamstring, we are stretching our posterior group of muscles, right? So in the forward bend, how are we supposed to rotate our legs? Are they supposed to
Leg.
rotate? Yeah,
Outward.
outward?
Outward, yeah.
No, that is your internal rotation. Okay.
Like, can you show?
Yeah, internal rotation is like this. So as I told you yesterday, in the forward bend, we are supposed to rotate our legs inward. Okay, this is the internal rotation of your hips. In the downward facing dog, we do the same thing. Like we're gonna press our hand and we're gonna rotate our legs inward, so that we will have that more extension in our hips. The moment when we are rotating our legs inward, we're gonna lose that Moola Bandha. But when we are trying to extend a leg, we're going to contract that Moola Bandha more engaged. Okay. Yeah, let's do it together one more time. Yeah, come up high in the downward facing dog. Yeah, this is your child pose, Kirtanjali ji. From here, we will do extended puppy pose. Let's do extended puppy pose. And lower your chest down and move your hips forward. Your hips should be right above your knees. Yeah, this is your extended puppy pose. So wherever you are feeling that stretch right here into this position, the same stretch you're supposed to have in your downward facing dog. Okay. So now it's your, now you become puppy and then now you are supposed to become dog. Okay, just extend your arms and then extend your legs. Yeah, extend your arms, extend your legs. Very nice. And slightly bend your knees, slightly bend your knees and then reach your hips high, even higher than before. Slightly bend, lift your heels off the floor and now feel that extension on your hips. See, when you're bending your legs, your thigh will come closer to your abdomen. So this is the contraction of your abdomen and your thighs together. Okay, so whenever you're contracting your muscles in the opposite side, proportionally, it will be extended. Okay, let's suppose I'm contracting my biceps muscle. I will definitely have that extension on my triceps. Right? Same thing happens here when you're contracting your abdomen. You will have more extension in your butts. Understood? So the more you contract your front part, the more extension you will have on your back side. Okay, so that is why we are also supposed to bend our legs and try to reach your hips as high as possible. The moment when you reach your hips high, then you will have more extension in your spine. So the basic problem of this downward facing dog is that maximum time what do? We when we are getting into this position, we try to rotate our arms inward. Okay, the moment when you rotate your arms inward, you can never have that hard opening. Hard opening means back bend, because we are having that back bend too in this downward facing dog. See, in the downward facing dog, we do have forward bend, we do have back bend too. Right? Forward bend, like you will have a stretch on your hamstring, you will have a stretch on your hips, you will have a stretch on your lower back. But from your thoracic region, you will have extension. Okay, back bend and forward bend that combine, when they combine, then it becomes downward facing dog. Okay, so downward facing dog is the is also said that is the foremost pose which can create any other poses. If you want to make vinyasa from the downward facing dog, it will be very easy to get to the other pose. All right, let's suppose you want to go to the warrior C. Warrior C. From the downward facing dog, how you will get? First, you will take your right leg up, and then you will bring your right leg forward, and then you're gonna swing up into warrior C. This is your warrior C. If you want to get to the back bend or chakrasana, okay, let's suppose you want to get to the chakrasana. From the downward facing dog, you will take your one leg up, and then drop your leg down, and then open your hip out. It's your chakrasana. Okay, it's also called that wild thing. If you want to get to the chakrasana, you can drop your backhand on the floor, get to the chakrasana. Okay. Now, if you want to come back, you have to rotate your hand in and then get back to the downward facing dog like this. Okay. So whenever you're going to give class, so if you feel any confusion, you just need to make your student to rest into downward facing dog or hold there. Then whichever position you want to make them to get there, you can easily make them to get there. Okay. And one more thing, what happens here? See, in the downward facing dog, we are supposed to elevate our shoulder. Elevation, this is called elevation, this is called depression. Okay. The moment when we are elevating our shoulders, we will have that internal rotation of our arms. Just take your hands up, everyone. Yeah, just take your hands up and keep elevating your hands up. Elevate high. Now, are you feeling that internal rotation of your shoulders or arms? A slight internal rotation that will happen in your top of the humerus bone, top of your hand. Okay, so that is your internal rotation. When you're depressing your shoulder down, now you will have external rotation. Okay, so this is the external rotation, this is the internal rotation. So when you're reaching your arms up, now you will have internal rotation. And when you're depressing your shoulder down, it's the external rotation. So we have to sustain this external rotation here and then reach your hands even higher, 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 as high as possible. Okay. So in the back bend, basically we are supposed to rotate our hands outward. That is why in this downward facing dog, we are rotating our hands outward. Okay. So as I told you, downward facing dog, it it does have that forward bend. It does have that back bend too. Okay.
Hands outward and legs inward. Yeah.
Legs inward. Because your lower body is playing like it's doing forward bend, but your upper body that is doing back bend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And one more problem that we usually find in the downward facing dog is that we do have that shoulder impingement most of the time in the downward facing dog. Okay. Now look at my shoulders. How do I do? So from here, if you want to deepen the posture, I will lower my chest down like this in the downward facing dog, and then I will rotate my hands inward. Can you see my internal rotation of my hands? This is internal rotation, but I have to sustain this outer rotation of my top of my hands. If I'm sustaining this, then you can deepen into the posture. If you cannot sustain this, you are not supposed to deepen into the posture. All right. So just keep on rotating your hands outward from the beginning. Okay. So let's do it one more time. Aajo, downward facing dog में come up into the downward facing dog. Yeah. Now deepen your shoulder down, pushing your shoulder down towards the floor, and slightly bend your knees. Slightly bend your knees. Reach your hips high. Yes. Lower your chest down. जैसे हमने puppy extended pose करा था, same like we did extended puppy pose. You're supposed to do the same in this downward facing dog. No, no, no. डाउनवर्ड फेसिंग डॉग में हम एक्सटेंड करेंगे स्पाइन पे, ठीक है, लेग ऊपर ही रहेगा आपका. लेग ऊपर करिए गीतांजलि जी. हाँ ऊपर करके, मतलब ऊपर करके मतलब डाउनवर्ड फेसिंग डॉग में आइए. नाउ स्लाइटली बेंड योर नीज एंड देन रीच योर हिप्स हाई. हिप्स को टॉप में ले आइए जितना ऊपर हो सकता है, एंड देन चेस्ट को हाँ बेंड भी करिए थोड़ा सा. स्लाइटली बेंड योर नीज, स्लाइटली बेंड योर नीज, बेंड करो और बेंड करो. ब्रिंग योर थाइज क्लोज टू योर एब्डोमेन. वेरी नाइस. Now it's like perfect. Now push your shoulder down. Push your shoulder down towards the floor. Okay. So in Ashtanga, you may have, if you have observed that we tuck our head in. Just tuck your head in. Look at your navel center. Look at your navel center in the downward facing dog. Okay. If you're looking your navel center, now you're rotating your hands inward. Okay. So it needs practice. It needs that sustain, that maintenance in your shoulder. Okay. If you're rotating your hands inward and you're tucking your head in, then there is no benefit of doing this posture. Either you can look forward or look in between your both hands. Okay. Because see, when you're tucking your head in, now you will have internal rotation of your arm. If you're tucking your head out, it will be easy to rotate your hands outward. Okay. Because we need to have that outer rotation in our hands, right? So sustain that outer rotation of your hands in this downward facing dog. So that is the main purpose of doing downward facing dog. Okay, so let's talk about now mountain. How do we do mountain? So mountain is easier than downward facing dog, because in downward facing dog we have to observe our whole body, entire body, from our heel to our hips, hips to our hands. Okay, if we are not rotating our hands outward, if you're rotating that in, then you will definitely have shoulder impingement. Okay, so we are supposed to avoid this shoulder impingement in the downward facing dog. Okay, so let's do mountain pose, Parvatasana. In Parvatasana, you don't bend your knees. We don't bend our knees, and then we try to reach our hips high at the peak, and your whole body, your entire body, from your heel to your hip to your hands, that should be in one straight line. Okay, now come up into the mountain. Yes, now fingers together, open your hands, shoulder width apart, legs will be closed. Yeah, and then reach your hips high and maintain that one straight line from your upper body and lower body too. हिप्स को और ऊपर करिए कृतांजलि जी, शोल्डर को थोड़ा सा नीचे करिए. गुड जॉब मागदा. हाँ, हिप्स को थोड़ा सा और ऊपर करिए और नीचे नहीं देखना है, जस्ट लुक फ्रंट इन बिटवीन योर हैंड्स इन द माउंटेन एंड देन पुश योर शोल्डर डाउन. शोल्डर को थोड़ा सा नीचे करिए. फाइन. ओके, नाउ रिलीज बैक. एंड डाउनवर्ड फेसिंग डॉग में एक दूसरी एंट्री होती है. देयर वी डू हैव डिफरेंट अप्रोच टू गेट देयर फ्रॉम द टेबल टॉप. ओके, so from the tabletop, what you have to do first, just look at my hands and then observe what I'm doing. From here, rotate your hands outward like this. This is your hyperextended elbows. This is your hyperextended elbow. From here, first make sure your index finger are parallel to each other. If you are rotating your hands inward like this, now you will have internal rotation. If you're keeping your index finger parallel to each other, now you will have this outer rotation easy. Okay, so from here, press your hands on the floor, rotate your hands all the way outward and sustain this outer rotation. You have to maintain this outer rotation of your hands in the tabletop. From here, tuck your toes under and then reach your hips high, reach your hips high. So the moment when you're reaching your hips high, you will have slight internal rotation, that is fine, but it should not be like this. Okay, so you have to sustain first outer rotation of your hand and then elevate your hips high, 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 and then hold here. Okay, if I don't bring that awareness in my hands like this outer rotation, then definitely I won't have this outer rotation in the downward facing dog. Just look at me one more time. I will not rotate my hands outward now. I will just keep my hands into the neutral position and then reaching high, and now you will feel the difference. Now my shoulders are coming close to my ears. Okay, so this is your internal rotation. Whenever, see, as I said, if you're elevating your shoulders, you will have this internal rotation. But it's, see, it's very hard to elevate your shoulder and then maintain this outer rotation. Okay, so elevate your shoulders high. Now, if your shoulders are coming close to your ears, that means you have got this internal rotation. But we have to push our shoulders away from our ears. Outer rotation, elevate, outer rotation, elevate like this. Okay, why we are doing this outer rotation? Did you understand anything in this outer rotation? See, in the outer rotation, what happens? Your shoulder socket is designed in such a way where, like, whenever you're rotating your hands inward, you stop, like you stop your range of motion of your shoulder. But when you rotate your hands outward, you create this space in the shoulder socket, and that shoulder allows your hands to even get further forward as far as you want to go further. Okay, this outer rotation allows us this elevation. At the same time, that will start to expand our lungs, that will start to extend our spine too. Okay, see, if you're doing back bend like this, if you are doing back bend, if you are taking our arms like this from here, you cannot go further than this. But if you are rotating hands outward and then pulling our hands back, it will be very easy to go further than before. Okay, because there we do not have any restrictions. Our range of motion is increasing when we are rotating our hands outward. Okay, so in any back bend or in the downward facing dog or any other poses wherever your lungs is expanding, wherever your your thoracic region is extending, you have to rotate your hands outward. That's it. Okay. or you may write down whatever you want about this downward facing dog.
We try.
It's fine.
Yeah, can we try it then?
Yeah, try. Try to push your shoulders away from your ears. Yeah, push your shoulders away from your ears. Okay, it should not be close to your ears. So it is never going to happen like when your shoulders are close to your ears and then you are rotating your hands outward. Okay, so try to push your shoulders away.
Completely different from what we were taught,
What?
It's completely different from what we are taught, because we are always told that we have to look at them at our navel.
Yeah, see, it is also I don't say like it's wrong, it's right, but it's like intense level, that optimum level. When you're enough flexible, when you're enough, aware in Ashtanga, basically, see, in Ashtanga is done, Ashtanga is supposed to be done by those people who have been like practicing yoga for long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have enough flexibility, but
Yeah.
now we do Ashtanga just like this. Like we start with Ashtanga like 200 hours, 300 hours, but
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be like this, what I feel like. But earlier people, see, in Ashtanga we do have Drishti, we do have that Bandhas too, okay, and we have also breathing technique, but we don't usually apply that. But in the downward facing dog, if you're tucking your head in, you will have this internal rotation, right? So we are supposed to rotate our hands outward. So how
Mhm.
we going to rotate our hands in? Like how we going to rotate our hands outward while tucking your head in? Because we are not that much experienced.
Yes.
Okay.
Understand.
So yeah. So in the beginning, that is fine. Like look front, then you will have that outer rotation. But later on, once you just keep on practicing, you understand, you bring that enough awareness in your shoulders, then it's fine to tuck your head in and then look at your navel center. And while tucking your head in, you will have this Jalandhar Bandha lock in your throat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that also gives us energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that we can apply later. Maybe you can also do it, but for the beginners, if you're going to teach, then make
Mm-hmm.
them to see forward, not back.
Sir, in which one we do like, three bandhas? Is it for mountain pose or for the downward facing dog?
See, in the downward facing dog, we can also apply that bandhas, but it's not that easy because we feel like bandhas are like locking your throat, locking your abdomen, locking your mula bandha like this. So it's not that easy to lock, but yes, we can lock in both in downward facing dog and the mountain too. Okay, in any pose, you can lock your throat, or no, I mean, you can use the bandhas.
So when can you, once you locked it, like when can you release it? Is it first release it, then go to the next pose, or do we need to keep that?
No. You have to release, then get to the other poses.
Okay.
Yeah. See, how does lock works or help us out to hold the posture? Because it does not, lose your energy. It does not, that eliminate your energy. That keeps that inside within you. Okay, so that is the purpose of locks. And lock does not mean that you're gonna stop your breathing. No, it's going to lock your energy only. Okay, so that, when you are retaining your breath, that is your retention of your breath, or what do we call that when we stop breathing, when we hold the air?
Pranayam.
No, not pranayam. That in English that is called retention of your breath. Okay, so At the time we're gonna do that. But here in bandhas, we're not gonna stop our breath. We're gonna just hold the energy within.
So with the even with the bandhas, we can do the Ujjayi breath in between.
Yes, in the bandhas we can do ujjayi breathing in between. Okay, any other pose that you want me to talk about?
I think all poses we need.
All pose.
I
Okay,
have a
triangle
problem
pose.
with lotus pose. I have a problem with even a half lotus.
Half lotus.
So
Okay, then let's talk about half lotus. Okay, so let's do. Have you understood this all about downward facing dog? Okay, and see, if you have understood everything about downward facing dog and applied also, okay, in the when you are performing the posture. If you just understand, then it's not going to help you out. Okay, it will be in your mind only. If you want to maximize the benefit, then you have to apply it also.
You said like, put your, keep your toes up as well, like lifting your hip up. So,
Heels, yeah.
so we have to keep the hip up and bend slightly, like legs
Slightly
bend
bend.
slightly.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
See,
sometimes you
Mhm.
say like, to release it, like, you keep moving, like, pedal the legs. Is it for Hatha
Pe-
and Ashtanga as well?
Yeah, in Hatha Yoga, see, basically we do Vinyasa Yoga, Vinyasa. Okay. First we have Hatha Yoga, then we have Ashtanga Vinyasa. We cannot only say Ashtanga. If you are going for Ashtanga, then we have Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. That is different. Okay, Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Vinyasa, and then Vinyasa. Then
Okay.
Yin Yoga, Restorative Yoga, that other the yoga comes.
Okay.
And Vikram Yoga, that they all come after. Okay, Hatha
Okay.
Yoga, Ashtanga Vinyasa, and Vinyasa.
Okay.
Okay, in Vinyasa, everything like anything can happen there. Like you can pick up some of the posture from Hatha Yoga, you can pick up some of the posture from Ashtanga Yoga, and then you compile them together. It becomes Vinyasa. Okay, in paddling your legs out in the downward facing dog, that will, you know, that will make you hold the posture, that will make you to relax there. Okay, so that is why I usually say to paddle out your legs so that you can stretch your legs out. At the same time, you can also relax there. Okay.
So, in yoga, is it a Chinese form or just Indian form?
I don't know Yin Yoga.
The name
where-
sounds
where
Chinese.
yeah, it sounds Chinese. I don't know where it came from, but yeah, maybe it's Chinese. But whatever it is,
No, just
we
like they use in Chinese. Yoga is Indian, so somebody just put the in on, in front of some poses.
yeah, I don't know about this much, but okay. But in Yin Yoga, what happens? You just relax yourself, and you also feel the extension in your body. It's similar to Hatha Yoga. In Hatha Yoga, same thing happens. You hold into one particular posture for long period of time, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, to maximize its benefit. But in Yin Yoga, same thing happens. You use the props, bolsters, blocks, and straps, and then you hold the posture for long period of time. In Hatha Yoga, but in Hatha Yoga, we do have standing poses, but in Yin Yoga, we rarely have that standing poses. Okay, so
Maybe
in
mainly
Yin,
for like very the
yeah,
people who need
aged,
that kind of help.
yeah, like who are suffering from like severe problem, then they usually go for this Hatha Yoga. See, the traditional yoga and the Yin Yoga. In Yin Yoga, we basically restore our energy. Okay, whenever you feel lazy, that time you can do Yin Yoga. and that yin yoga is going to give you flexibility too. I don't say like it won't give you flexibility. It will give you very nice flexibility, more than maybe more than vinyasa, because we are holding there for long period of time, and we just, with every exhalation, you will start to deepen the posture. You will not hold. You will start to deepen. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So that retention of your breath is called kumbhaka too. Kumbhaka. Have you heard this name? Kumbhak?
Yeah, yeah.
So that is called retention of your breath. Okay. So where
Okay.
we hold our breath, we do not release that breath out. We hold our breath. If you want to hold for 5 counts, you can hold 5 counts.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about half lotus. Okay. So in half lotus, what are we supposed to see? If we don't have enough flexibility, enough mobility, then it will be hard. In half lotus, we require to have mobility more than flexibility. Okay, because this, if you're doing half lotus, just look at me here. Why I'm doing this half lotus? Because I do have enough mobility in my hip joint. Okay, and your knee joint does not require to have that mobility. You require to have stability. Okay, we are not twisting from the knee joint. We are just twisting from our from our hip joint. Okay, first, what we have to do? First, pull your legs back like this. So now this is your external rotation of your leg. When you're pushing your leg out, this is the external rotation. From here, we are not going to pull our knee, pull our foot towards our head. Otherwise, we'll have the twisting on our knee joint. Okay, so just try to understand what I'm saying. First, you will extend your leg. Now we don't have the twisting on our knee joint. After this, what we're gonna do? We're gonna just push our leg out and then bend your leg. See, we avoided that twisting. First, pull your leg back and then push it out to the left side and then bend your leg and then drop it down. Okay, and if we do have that stiffness in our ankle joint, again it will be hard to get to this half lotus or full lotus pose. Okay, so now, yes, Magda, did you feel something different, or
Yeah.
everything is same?
Yes.
Okay, so make sure in this pose you don't feel any pressure in your knee joint. Your knee joint have that ability to flex or extend. If you're flexing, that is fine. If you're extending, that is also fine. But if you are having that pain on your knee joint, that means you're twisting from the knee joint. You're not supposed to twist from the knee joint. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull our leg back first. Now you create the space in your hip joint. After that, we're gonna push our leg to the left side, then bend your leg, and then push your knee down. Okay. And then if you're going for this full lotus pose, you have to adjust your upper leg right here on the top of your left leg, and then push your knee down. After this, you cannot pull your leg now. You cannot pull your other leg back. So what you have to do? Shift your body weight on your other leg, and then bend your leg. Now you have created a space on your left hip joint, enough space, and then push your knee down like this. Okay. Now place your left foot on your right knee and then hold the position slowly, but not without having that pain on your knee joint.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Magda. Yeah. Anything else?
The forward bending pose of dog pose, the forward dog bending.
Forward bend.
Yes,
Yesterday we talked about forward bend. I think
the what we call
upward
that,
facing dog.
upward facing dog.
अपवर्ड फेसिंग डॉग हम कल बताएंगे, ठीक है? कल का पोज है वो आज थोड़ा
Okay.
अभी टाइम नहीं है ना, क्योंकि अभी केवल 10 मिनट्स we are left with only 10 minutes. If we talk about that, then it will take time.
Okay, कोई बात नहीं.
Okay. And how much do you practice in a day, everyone? Magda, Gitanjali ji, and Rekha ji,
During class only.
during class?
Not much, sir.
Not much.
No.
Okay.
Only
So
two.
whenever you get, yeah.
In between the lessons, there are only 2 hours left in which we can do our meal work and all.
See, whenever you get time, let's say whenever you wake up, whenever when you're going for the sleep or you're doing nothing, at the time you just need to open your legs like against the wall. Let's suppose here. So this is going to give you nice flexibility and it will increase your mobility too at the same time. Like this, you're going against the wall and opening legs out. Okay. And then with every acceleration, it is going to get down because gravity is going to pull you at the same time and gravity is doing its work and you're doing your work. So both
Mhm.
work are happening together. Okay. So these poses you can do or butterfly that you can do. And it is also said the more you open your hip, the happier you become. Okay. तो जितने ज्यादा आपके हिप्स ओपन रहेंगे आई मीन जितनी ज्यादा मोबिलिटी द मोर यू इंक्रीज योर मोबिलिटी द मोर happiness you will have in your life. Okay.
Are we
Because
supposed to do that wall pose while after having our dinner or lunch?
no, not after having dinner or lunch, before lunch, after lunch.
So, okay.
Okay.
2-3 hours after?
Before lunch, before after. Yeah.
Kritin, we don't have Kritinjali, we don't have time for eating this month, Don't think of eating. We have only time for yoga.
Oh wow.
How do we are supposed to?
I am eating now.
It's, maybe you can advise us when we should eat because we have asana class at I don't know, my time is it's free. Yeah, it's free my time, and we have this class now at 8 my time. So I really don't know when should I eat. I only eat breakfast, big breakfast.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So one apple at the afternoon.
So what is happening in your country, Magda, in Indonesia?
What is
Everything is
happening?
open. Everything is open now for the tourists.
It's starting to be open. They opening the country, but not yet. Completely because we still have quarantine. There used to be 8 days quarantine. Now it's 5 days, and we still
Alright.
need visas. They don't issue tourist visas; only issue business visas.
Okay.
But in COVID cases are really low, so it's getting much better now.
और आप लोग कहाँ रहते हो कृतांजलि जी? Where do you live? And Rekha ji?
Himachal Pradesh.
अच्छा हिमाचल प्रदेश से आप?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Rekha ji?
I am in UK.
UK?
Yeah. I'm
Uttarakhand
from India. Only at the moment in UK.
Alright.
I'm
मैं
Indian.
से UK, आप बोल रहे हो उत्तराखंड से. चलो.
India's UK.
Okay, then whatever you want to ask, you may ask.
Sir, eating schedule ही बता दो.
Eating.
कैसे मतलब सही है? कितनी बार खाना है दिन में? How many times?
देखो, if you want to become flexible, you have to stop eating this, spicy food, salty food. For a month or 2 months, you will see whatever is happening now in your body, that is happening because of 2 months before whatever you have had. Okay. So now that is a process. Now, if you're working out, you're taking out all the like you're burning your calories and all. That is happening because of that. You're just working out for that past whatever you have had. Okay, now if you want to improve more, if you want to like become more flexible, then you have to start now, and then you will see the result in 2 months. Okay, so I don't say no, stop eating salty food at all, but less, have less food, like less salty food. Apart from it, everything is fine for the body. Okay, but keep on practicing. That is important.
Yeah.
Like Indian food, we can eat now, you know very well how to.
Yeah,
I'm
मैंने सुना नहीं,
asking
दोबारा बोला.
with less salt. Can we eat the Indian food, the basic one, and
ये आवाज कट रही है, मुझे आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
so I'm saying
Magda, can you, is she audible?
I couldn't hear her as well.
Yeah. Yes, Kritanjali, एक और बार बोलिए, please.
I think she was asking about Indian food.
yeah, I'm saying is, can we eat the Indian regular food that we are eating, or we have to go into the sattvic diet or something, salad or whatever? Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, yes. You, if it is possible to have sattvic diet, then you can have. Otherwise, it's very hard to have sattvic diet. Okay, so you can go with
Mhm.
normal diet, so that is fine. But have less. I mean, like if your appetite is having 4 chapati or 4 roti, then have 2 roti or less roti. In the evening, stop eating after 8, or before it you may have whatever you want, but after it stop eating or have less. Okay, less than your hunger.
I have a question. I have a question about Machasana, which is really difficult for me.
Yeah.
Of course, it is because I don't do lotus and half lotus even, but also I have a problem with the elbow. You know,
Yeah.
about this twist in my
Mhm.
in the hand. Can you maybe explain?
See, what happened in the beginning when I used to do this Marichasana, so that also used to happen to me. Like when I used to rotate my hands in like this. So if I don't rotate my hand from the top, then I will have less rotation like this. Okay, if I'm rotating from the top like this and creating space, first I'm pushing my hand forward and try to push your hand away from the shoulder socket, and then rotate your hand in, and then push that out, and then bend your elbows. Now you can easily see that more extension you will find. Okay, earlier we did not have that rotation because we were just bending from the elbow and we were just taking our arm out and behind. But now we are rotating from the top and then elevating forward and then creating space, and now it's very easy to get more back. And you have to always keep your spine straight in this position if you want to extend it more forward. If you will lose, you will make hump, and then it will have to have that, you know, more space to cover. Okay,
That was good.
right?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really like, there was lots in today's class, like lots of questions and this kind of tricks.
Also, then what about that boat pose when we have to, that we learn today only, in which we have to swing ourselves and high in the air? Hello? Hello?
या कृतांजलि जी, आपकी आवाज सही से नहीं आ रही है.
It was about the boat pose. Today we had the boat pose at Asana class, and
Yes.
I think she's asking about the lifting after the boat pose. I'm not sure if she's, because we were told to lift like.
Yeah. In this Ashtanga Vinyasa, we do have this. We're gonna lift our legs and we're gonna lift our hips like this. Again, boat pose, lift like this. So this is also going to engage your, psoas major inside your pelvic girdle. We do have that muscle that is going to engage that part. Okay.
Can we
So-
use blocks?
Yeah, you can always use the block. See, these
Okay.
yoga props is always going to make you deepen the posture. Okay, because we need that information. The more you are touched with the floor, the more you're grounded, the more energy will feel in your body. Okay, so the information that is always, being brought from the floor, it cannot be. If you're in if you're in the sky, you can never have the energy. Okay, so the energy should come from the floor all the time. Use the block, use your props, use cushion, bolster, whatever is there for you.
And about the boat pose, our legs are supposed to be straight or can be like this?
Yeah, if they are straight, then it's going to give you more strength. But when they are bent, that is also going to give you strength, but less than straighten your knees.
And hands, this position, yeah?
Hands, they are supposed to rotate outward, not inward. Never rotate your hands out inward, always outward. Because when you're rotating your arms outward, you will have more expansion of your lungs.
And it's
Okay,
like
then
sitting on the sitting bone or
no. On your sitting bones. We are holding into the sitting bone. Make sure your tailbone is not touching on the floor. If your tailbone is touching, then you may have that sacroiliac joint pain. We do have that
Mhm.
sacroiliac joint like on your in our pelvic girdle. So you may have that pain when you're sitting on the tailbone. You have to sit up on the sitting bones.
so it's like the abdomen is working more, yeah?
Yeah, abdomen is working and your lower part is also working. Your pelvic girdle is being strengthened. Okay, that
Mhm.
is strengthening.
Mhm.
Do you mean we need to sit with our hip bones?
Yeah, we need to sit up on our hip bone. बहुत बढ़िया कृतांजलि जी, ऐसे करते रहिए. Okay, then see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye bye. Namaste to everyone.
Namaste. Bye-bye.
Sham.